Thank you, Tom.
All right, Ms. Bose,
Here.
Ms. Evans,
Here.
Ms. Farmer, Mrs. Grover,
Here.
Mr. Johnson. Here. Dr. King,
Here.
Ms. Scott, Mr. Van Hise, Ms. Bose, you have a quorum?
Okay, Tom, will you take us into executive
Sure.
session?
So there's a motion on the agenda tonight to move into executive session to discuss matters involving personnel issues, specifically the athletic director position, assistant principal, and the POSA. No action will be taken in executive session. We should be 30 minutes and then back into regular session. So if there's a motion and a second,
Second?
who's got the motion first, please?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just heard a lot of voices.
I couldn't tell who's whose.
Right, yeah, well, I wasn't hearing voices.
Yeah.
I actually did say something. Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Mrs. Farmer, sorry, Mrs. Grover,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. King.
Yes.
Okay, the motion carried, and we are going to be in the library conference room, so you can exit up those steps, and we'll be in the
Great.
typical place where we usually always be.
Thank you, Tom.
I don't need it tonight.
Sorry for the delay. We got stuck in exec session for a little bit longer. The start of our meeting, I will do the open public meeting statement. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. As required under law, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided via email and/or fax to the Times, the Lawrence Ledger, the Public Library, and has been filed with the municipal clerk. The notice was provided prior to the 48 hours required by the Open Public Meeting Act. The board reserves the right to limit public discussion of personnel items and other matters as defined in the law. And with that, we'll do the flag salute. Okay. Welcome. I don't think we have any student representatives
We
tonight.
do not have any tonight.
Okay, any recognition or acknowledgements?
Yes, I first want to acknowledge that we have our board attorney, John Comegno, here with us. I was remiss of not sharing that last time, so people were asking me and put a name to a face that as best as they can. So thanks for coming and joining us tonight, John. And then we do have a recognition. I want to recognize, as always, how much the Education Foundation helps us out, and I believe they're here to share great news about another grant. So I will ask Karen to come on up. I think Kristen Burke is here, and a few others. So anybody that wants to join, I'd love to hear more about this fabulous grant.
Love that cardboard check.
My Ed McMahon moment. Hi, I'm Karen Feynman, the Executive Director of the Lawrence Township Education Foundation, also known as the LTEF. For those of you who don't know, the LTEF is a nonprofit organization that funds projects and programs that foster educational excellence, creativity, and achievement in all Lawrence Township public schools. Each year, teachers and administrators apply directly to the LTEF to pay for projects and programs that span the curriculum. In addition to this, the LTEF actively seeks funders from the outside and works with LTPS educators to develop proposals for these funding opportunities. This spring, I had the pleasure to collaborate with Kristen Burke, who is the supervisor for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics for pre-K to 6, on a proposal entitled STEAM for 21st Century Learners, and submitted that to Bristol Myers Squibb. Tonight, I'm happy to be here to present the grant from BMS for a total of $20,389.80.
Wow.
Before I explain the grant, I just want to thank Kristen for always being extremely innovative and open to working with me on coming up with some great project ideas. Over the past 15 months, students have had limited exposure to STEAM activities in school due to the COVID-19 pandemic. If you're not aware, STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math. Students have been in the classroom, as we all know, far less time since March of 2020. And due to the new socially distant protocols, students have not been sharing materials or working together as much on STEAM projects. Consequently, there has been far less exposure to these types of activities. This grant will provide at-home STEAM kits for all 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade students in the district. In addition, it will target 150 of our most vulnerable students in kindergarten, 1st, and 2nd grades, and provide them with similar at-home kits. In total, this grant provides 1,020 kits. The STEAM activities in these kits reflect a project-based learning approach which allow for students to engage in design thinking process across multiple contents areas at one time. Along with art supplies, each kit contains math project ideas, design challenges, game boards, and cards to inspire curiosity and exploration. This gives these students the opportunity to explore, question, discover, and build their critical thinking skills with their family in their home. That's about it. That was a lot. That's enough. But again, thank you. We're really excited, and we want a big shout out to BMS for their constant support of us and the support of this kind of out-of-the-box thinking for at-home materials. We'd love to take a picture, Dr. Kaysen.
Sure.
Look how professional.
3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. 20,000, yikes.
And again, I want to thank the Education Foundation for all of their support. They truly make our schools better, our district better. Before our meeting tonight, we had a ribbon-cutting ceremony over at Slackwood School, unveiling their new media center, which also has a STEAM center, which they were a huge contributor and a reason why we were able to do such a fabulous job over there. So again, thank you so much for everything that you do for us. And that's all I have for recognitions and acknowledgements.
Great, thank you. And next, we need to do the adoption of the minutes from the regular session on August 11th.
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Who made that motion?
Groger.
Mrs. Groger?
Yes.
Thank you. It was seconded by Ms. Evans.
Yes.
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Grover?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then I would like to get a motion to adopt the executive and regular session minutes from the June 28th, 2021 meeting.
So moved. Second?
With a motion and a second, Tom?
Made by Ms. Scott, seconded by Ms. Farmer.
Yes.
Ms. Bose?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Grover?
Abstain?
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Great, thank you, Tom. Reports to the board. Superintendent's report.
Good evening. We continue to plan for the opening of school, and we're really excited to have our students and our staff back in a few weeks. We really had an excellent week this week with about 35 members of our new staff. They are exceptional hires, beaming with enthusiasm, and they are so excited for the year to begin. As I stated at our last meeting, our main priority with opening schools is to keep students and staff safe, with the goal of keeping our schools open for in-person learning 5 days, full days, every week. That said, we also know that we have to focus on the social, emotional, and academic well-being of every student and meet them where they come in. For the first few weeks back, all of our schools, pre-K through 12, are truly focusing on building relationships with our staff and our students, helping all to become familiar with routines so that all feel safe, so that all have a sense of belonging, with lots of support for mental health, academic growth, assessing where students are at, both emotionally and academically, and as I said, meeting everyone where they are. Each school has amazing things planned for the first few weeks for staff and students. And I have Ashaya working to summarize those, and we will put them up on our website so everyone can see the fabulous work that's happening in all of our schools as we head back to school. At the same time, we continue to plan to meet all the mandates and requirements to prepare our schools, students, and staff for the realities of COVID. And we're doing everything in our power to minimize the spread of COVID while providing educational excellence. Next Monday, we will be sharing an informational letter and putting it up on our website with families and caregivers regarding the expectations and procedures, knowing that they are bound to change. Everything continues to be extremely fluid. Please know any of our decisions were not made in a vacuum. We base our decisions on recommendations from the CDC, the New Jersey Department of Health, Department of Education, executive orders by the governor, consultation from the Lawrence Health Department and our district physician. And weekly, I work in collaboration with the other districts in Mercer County. As we have said from some point in May of last year, all of our schools will begin full-time and in person. There will not be a virtual option. Remote learning is an option only when a student must quarantine or isolate because of COVID. Masks are required for all students, staff, and visitors unless the person has a documented medical condition that is approved by our board physician. As things are fluid, on Monday, we learned that all staff must show proof of vaccination or be subject to a weekly COVID test. As things move quickly, we are in the process of setting up a process to test our staff who are unvaccinated. And to be proactive, we're seeing if we can spread and expand that test and offer COVID testing to our entire staff and to our entire student body for those who want it. We should be able to give you more information about that in the next week. The last piece is, and again, all of this will be in the letter that we send out on Monday, but there's lots of questions about travel, especially with Labor Day approaching. For domestic travel, individuals who are fully vaccinated and travel outside of New Jersey, there is no need to quarantine or test before or after that travel. Of course, individuals should monitor for symptoms and get tested if they have any symptoms that develop. It's very different for unvaccinated travelers, which includes right now our students under the age of 12. They must be tested 3 to 5 days after traveling out of New Jersey for states that don't share a border with us. And they must quarantine for a full 7 days, even if the test is negative. Non-vaccinated individuals who are not tested have to be out and stay in quarantine for 10 days. For those who need to quarantine following travel, remote learning is not an option. It's not available, and for the days out, they are marked as absent. This will be a challenging year. Again, we need to be fluid as things change daily. And we need to continue to make decisions in the best interests of all of our kids and work diligently to keep our schools open full-time. We need everyone's support to work together, as it takes all of us to provide safety and excellence for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ross. Board Secretary's report.
I was asked to review what we've done in preparation, just expanding upon the things that are done in terms of the physical things and the process changes that we've made with respect to COVID preparation. And so I'm going to go through some things. If you have any comments or questions about this, or should the public have any comments or questions about this, please feel free to contact me and I can get you the information that you're interested in. My cell number is 609-649-9109, and my email is teldridge@ltps.org. So some of the things are things that we want you to know in terms of steps we've taken to make sure that we're safe. But what's also extremely important is that you reach out at any time if you have any concerns so that we can try to address them. I don't want any of our staff members or parents failing to ask a question and being anxious about returning to school if we can address it for you. So please use that phone number and that email address, and I'll do what I can, whether it's to bring you out to the classroom to show you the area, or provide you with the documentation that you need, whether it's specifications for air exchange and things of that nature. But some things that we've done, almost all of our classrooms in the district that weren't already air conditioned have now been air conditioned, and those units that are in those classrooms are units that serve only that classroom. And what that means is they don't share air with other units from other classrooms. So if you're a teacher or a student in your classroom and you're in Mrs. Smith's first grade room, and you're in with your cohort of students of 15, The only air that's coming into that classroom is circulated into that classroom, and then that air is discharged back out of the classroom. And so we have air turnover there. And those are new units in almost every classroom of the district. And so when I say new, I mean in the last 24 months. That was not in response to preparations for COVID. It was just because we had already embarked on an air conditioning project. In the common areas like you are right now, the cafeterias, the auditoriums, the all-purpose rooms, and places like that, these units are about 5 years old. So prior to our referendum, we air conditioned all of our common areas. And so the point here is that we have air exchange. The second point is that each one of these units stands by itself. It's not a centralized system whereby it's ducted and it spreads across a whole school. And so what that means is there's redundancy in our system. If one goes down, it doesn't take the whole thing down with it. And we have the ability to swap out the parts. And so it's uniform that way. And so that was planned intentionally. So moving through that, the next question about air exchange typically comes back to filtration levels. In all of our classrooms, we have HEPA filters. Those are standalone units that look a lot like your dehumidifiers that you'd have at home that we plug in. And they turn the air over, as if you will, or exchange the air through the system twice in an hour. Tom, am I okay? Okay, thank you. Tom was telling me I wasn't using the mic properly, so I'm trying to do the right thing for you, buddy. Okay, and so we have those in all of our classrooms. We bought those last year and deployed them. We also have, based on my estimates, in excess of 30 additional units in our warehouse in the case that we have to swap them out. Again, there's redundancy there. So these are just some of the things we're doing. If you've been in our schools, you know that our custodians are working to clean all the frequently touched surfaces, whether that's doorknobs, countertops, things of that nature. The nurses are also cleaning in their offices. And they have products that are what we have in the schools, but they also have different types of devices. They have their own hospital-grade sprayers that are fine mist sprayers, not electrostatic, but fine mist. They also have ultraviolet wands that they can use to supplement the disinfectant, but not to replace it. They have disinfectant cabinets that are ultraviolet that we purchased. And of course, for our students who would visit the nurse, we also have isolation rooms in all of our buildings where if someone does present themselves, students or staff, with symptoms, and they need a safe place to wait away from other people, we have isolation rooms designated that are nearby the nurses' offices. And so we're going to maintain those things until we're told otherwise. And so all of those things that we put into place last year, they still exist. Some other things that you may think are common, and they are. Yes, we have hundreds of thousands of masks, gloves, safety visors that people can wear if they need to wear visors instead, gowns, goggles, desk dividers. Instead of water fountains, we have bottle filling stations around our schools. We also have water bottles, just bottles of water. If you need them, we will give you a bottle of water. If you want it, we'll give it to you. And you can use the water filling station after that. In each one of the classrooms, we have a peroxide-based cleaner that kills COVID. This is peroxide, as you know, peroxide, but just in a higher concentration. And I've used it for years here. Our director of facilities brought it to us, and it's been successful for us in terms of cleaning, but also disinfecting. Our classrooms have these bottles in the case that the teachers and staff want to use them. There's also hand sanitizer in each one of the classrooms for our kids, and hand sanitizer throughout our buildings in the commonly walk-through areas. So as you came into the building, you'll see the red boxes on the walls, and those are throughout the schools, in addition to everything I've just said. Questions have come up about masks and the inability of people to hear a person with a mask on, and that's kind of why I just checked with Tom Irvin a minute ago. Our teachers who are interested, through their principals, we've purchased microphone sets, and we deployed those last year so that when that teacher was speaking in a classroom, if she or he felt they couldn't be heard, or perhaps the student said so, that teacher could wear the microphone, and we have a little box that is a wireless speaker, so that the teacher can be heard across the classroom without straining their voice or having worse yet, having the students not hear them. And so all of these things are still there and being improved upon as we go. We had full complements of all of these things last year. Questions have come up about our buses. Our buses will still be cleaned every single day, and they'll be disinfected. The same as the classrooms. They'll be, and I say these in two parts, cleaned and disinfected. They're not the same thing. We do clean with a disinfectant, but then after we've cleaned and removed any residue, whatever that may be, from anything that humans would have, from body oil or just dirt from your shoes, and we've taken it off the surfaces, we'll come back after the end of the day and spray down these touched areas, student areas, and allow the product that we use, our HDOX peroxide solution, to sit and then disinfect. So essentially what happens is the surface gets touched twice. Once with a friction type of wet cloth and solution. Then after that, once it's dried, we come back and spray it again and let it sit at the end of the day. And so that's the disinfection part. Some other things that we're doing, and many school districts are doing this. Lunch, what will lunch look like? I remember there was a person who asked a question about lunch and practicing how we do lunch. Well, each one of our schools, as we said it would be in May, has decided to do something a little different. Schools have changed their lunch schedules, increased the number of lunches, whatever they could do or needed to do to keep distancing during lunch periods. And sometimes that meant adding a lunch period. And sometimes it means having lunch in areas where you didn't typically have lunch. So, for example, if you were to go to the middle school right now, you'll see that we removed the first 5 rows of seats in the auditorium. And there's tables there now. If you go to the library in the middle school, you'll see that all of the, we call them stacks, the shelves that used to jut out in a starburst pattern through the center of the library have all been removed, the books reshelved, and that area is opened up as a great room now for instruction or lunch as necessary to to have the capacity to respond for whatever this year may bring. Fortunately, and much like the air conditioning, it just happened in the right time. Slackwood has a library now downstairs that gives it the capacity to respond to situations it once didn't have. And so, talking about lunch and what that looks like for our kids. Our cafeteria people have been busy planning menus with a hot option and a cold option, and we will serve those in takeout containers. So if you're someone, a kid in our school, and you are coming up for your lunch, you'll see somebody like me, I'm the cafeteria lady. You approach me, and there'll be a hot and a cold option here, and it'll already be in a takeout container. So there's no serving that's happening on a tray, and when you walk up and you give me your name, I'll be able to put your PIN number or your name into a system. I see a picture of you, and that tells us that you're paid for lunch. I didn't mention it, not in this meeting, but in previous meetings I have. Lunch is free to anyone and all persons next year or this year. So lunch and breakfast, for that matter. So that you do not have to apply for lunch. You don't have to have any free or reduced lunch qualifications. Lunch is free for all persons next year. And it's going to look different. It's going to look, as I just said to you, but in the high school, it's going to look different too, because we'll be serving in the commons, we'll be serving in off the commons in the outer vestibule area, we'll be serving in different areas of the high school. And if you think about it, the same thing's going to happen in middle school, the same thing will happen at LIS. The idea is if we're going to have lunch, we have to keep social distanced. And so we're spreading out into different areas. But the beautiful thing about doing this is we're learning so much at the same time. What do we have the capacity to do? If we can do this, what else can we do? And so while we look at things to make things fit, we have this round peg and a square hole, and yet we're building spaceships from them. So, you know, that's just a little puzzle, and after that we go, hey, what else can we do with this? There's more. What can we think about? And so we're doing those things, and I think you should hope that we would, and we are. So there are some other things that we're doing. Of course, we've purchased folding tables and things of that nature so that we can be nimble and move around. So if we don't like what's happening in this area of this room, we've purchased, I believe, something like around 100 8-foot folding tables that we can spread out through hallways in different classrooms, in different great rooms, in different configurations, because we realize that school has to go on and we've got to find a way to put it together. And so those things are all happening. At the high school here, just to give you an idea, sometime back in April, there was a concern that, that people were thinking, hey, you'll never pull this off. And we were thinking all of these things back then. How do we build capacity? So all of these things were in the works or are quickly coming to pass. We've purchased, I think, 17 tables here for the high school, all fixed seating so that we can break it down and set it up very quickly, unlike what we used to have, separate seating for everything. And so all of these things were with the forethought that we need to be able to respond. We need to be redundant. We need to be able to deploy quickly. And we need to be able to change whatever it is we've decided to do if it doesn't work or if things change. And so I rattled off a whole lot of things to you, and I don't mean to drone on up here, but word out in the street from some people was, I don't know if the school district's preparing for things. And so there's about 4 months of preparation, and all those things are pretty much in place at this time. I don't think the final menu is set for the cafeteria yet. But some of the things that we're running into that are going to cause hiccups, and they're causing hiccups for you too, I almost guarantee you. If you go to pick something up at a store and you need a part for something, and they don't have the supply you need, and perhaps you need a board for a computer or whatever the case may be, we're running into that too. Chicken nuggets are in short supply, and everybody loves chicken nuggets, So, that's cafeteria worry stuff, right? So then what do? Well, we move to something else. And all that's happening on the fly. And just like you, when you go to the store and you see there's nothing on that shelf, well, there's nothing on the shelf sometimes when we look there too. If you have ideas, we'd be happy to hear it. And for the folks who are concerned about transportation who came and we told them that we would work on that problem, we are still working on transportation. There are some students, mainly at the intermediate school, who will be walking to school, who in previous years in those neighborhoods didn't walk to school. The year before last, we increased the walking distances. We did follow up on concerns that parents had with respect to the crossing at Route 206 and Eggers Crossing. The chief has come back to Ross and myself and said that if they're going to station someone else there, they're going to need additional resources, and so I'll be bringing that to the Finance Committee. And Dr. King, you had asked me last week, or the week before, how we were addressing the issue of, do we have any empty seats on buses that we can fill, and I was looking at that today, because I don't know where you're sitting this time, you're down that way. All right, sorry about that. I was looking, most of the seats at LIS on their buses are packed. I think I have about, all told, at LIS, maybe 15 or 20 open seats amongst all the buses there. But I'll still be looking for them to come back through the farthest part of town and start bringing people who were the newest walkers and the farthest away back in. I'll bring that to the Finance Committee too with a proposal in terms of how we would fill those seats first. And so we promised that to the board and to the residents that we would continue to look into that, and we'll do that. So thank you for your time and your patience as I provided you with that information. And again, if I can be of any assistance to anyone, please just call, email, and we'll come meet each other.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Tom. Before I talk about our board candidate process that we're going to do tonight, I just wanted to speak on behalf of Kevin and the full board and thank Dr. Kaysen and Tom, all of our administrators, staff, custodians, and everybody in the Lawrence Township Public School System for their amazing hard work over the past couple of weeks, working to get our kids back to school full-time. We on the board are committed to providing the environment that is the safest for our students as well as our staff. And I personally know how difficult this has been and how many different things everybody has looked at in order to ensure the safety of our kids. So I wanted to thank you on behalf of the board. So tonight we are going to be interviewing our candidates who are interested in the position that is open on the board. We will conduct that during the board discussion and work session, which is a little bit later on the agenda, but I wanted to welcome the candidates and let them know what to expect. We're going to draw names out of a box to determine the order of the questions, and each candidate will have a few minutes to introduce themselves and answer some questions. And I'm going to tell you what we're looking for so you could think about it for when you come up to the podium. We're looking for an introduction about why you want to be on the board. Have you ever attended a board meeting previously, and what are your impressions? What do you feel you can bring to the board? And would you like to offer your thoughts on the current conversation on masking in schools? If you cover all of that in your introduction, I don't think we'll have any other questions unless there'll be board members who might think of something. But that's basically what we're looking for. And you will have about 2 to 3 minutes per candidate. And that is for Ms. Santos, Ms. Berger, and Mr. Haran. And everybody's here? Okay, great. Tom, do you want to do the?
Do you want to do the committees first, or do you want to go through?
Is it, if I can just, is that 2 to 3 minutes per question, or sum total for the candidate?
Sum total.
Sum total.
Sum total, sorry. 2 to 3 minutes if you cover all of those things. Okay? Do we want to draw it after? Or you want to just draw the names now? Does it matter?
Whichever you choose is fine with me.
Okay, we'll just draw it now, so that's over with, and they can be
prepared.
prepared.
They have time to think and get in order.
Yeah, and then we'll do the committee reports.
All right, okay. So I have 3 names. I have Amanda Santos, I have Lauren Berger, and Michael Haran. And I'm going to put them in the box, and we'll draw, and we'll ask that if those candidates are here, that they speak in the order that they're drawn.
Lauren Berger.
Okay.
Amanda Santos.
That means Mike Haran is the third one.
Okay. Thank you. So that will be just the order that we're going to ask the questions. After we go through the introductions, the board will move to an executive session to have a conversation, and then we'll come back into public session to vote for who will fill the position. And I thank all 3 of you for putting your name forward to help out during this very difficult time for our school and our community. Okay, so we'll do our committee reports. Community Relations and Legislative Affairs.
Community Relations has not met since the last board meeting on the 11th.
Okay. Negotiations has not met. And Equity has not met, but we will be meeting next week. And then I will do Guidance and Mental Health, which we did meet last week. Linda Mithog, Ross Kaysen, Andrew Zuckerman, myself, and Pepper Evans met on 8/19, and we discussed the return to school plan, which Ross has gone over in his superintendent's report, and that the most important thing, that we take away is that each school is going to have their own plan and do what is right for their students and their community, and they will communicate it out, and we will be communicating that out to the district as well. And I think that's all for Guidance and Mental Health. Liaison reports, New Jersey School Boards.
Okay, I have a few notes here.
Okay.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. I forwarded an email to all board members about virtual trainings that we had. 2 of them occurred today, which I attended to. Another one, you can log on and take care of that, and anybody that was newly elected, which we didn't have. As I said, I attended today New Jersey County Teacher of the Year Awards. The ceremony was at 10 o'clock, and Mercer County representative was from Trenton School District, and what a bright wonderful woman. She just is a go-getter and infectious, what our educators are here in Lawrence too, so congratulations. The second one I attended was the congratulations. The second one I attended was the perils of electronic communications, understanding your obligations as a public official, and that I will forward the PowerPoint to each and every one of you once I get it tomorrow. It was an interesting point that we board members who have been on for a while, it's nice to get a refresher as to what you can and can't do. Some of the privileges that the new member that will be voted on today needs to be aware of. Yes, you have the right to speak and say how you feel, but you have to understand the limits of what's ethical and how you separate yourself from the board when you're stating how you feel about different things, and I'll be happy to share all of that. It's a good refresher course for all of us. The DOE issued guidelines for educating students during quarantine that came out, and they are strongly encouraged to immediately provide remote instructions for students in a manner with personal instruction. And that was just put in our board minutes, or excuse me, board notes, if you want to consult that from New Jersey school boards for the better details. County leadership meetings, the first one's going to be the 31st of August, and that is for all of the presidents, vice presidents in New Jersey School Board. Through the summer, we were meeting twice a month, which was how I would find out what everyone in the state of New Jersey was experiencing. Some of the things are not happening here in Lawrence, some of them are, so it's a good place for us to hear, learn, share, and we haven't had one except the beginning of this month, so the 31st we're having that. The topic is cultural race theory and board meetings during turbulent times. November 8th will be cyber security, and I'll send these out too if I'm going too quickly. January 27th, assessment testing, graduation requirements, and March 24th will be the 8th grade dialogue, and the last one is scheduled for May 19th, and that'll be recognitions. And for those that are, and I shared this last meeting, candidate briefing for Central Jersey, anyone that has put their name in to run for the school board, this is a great way for you to really get your feet wet to see what you're going to be responsible for. And that is a virtual meeting, and it's going to be October 12th, 7 to 8:30 through New Jersey School Board. So please make every effort to attend that. LTEF, I have 2 dates for that. February 25th, handbag bingo. They're hoping it'll be in person. Let's hope. And also, this is LTEF's 30th year anniversary. So please, if you haven't donated in the past, consider doing that, because as you saw tonight, awesome programs. It touches many students and staff members. It's really an amazing group of people to be involved with. And trivia night, hoping for in person, but virtual if necessary. Time will tell. And that is scheduled for October 8th. And I'll just jump to direct link because I'm right down there after that.
Yep.
We did not meet.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Lawrence Town Council,
I think that was John Dahl.
okay, so we'll have to reassign that. Lawrence Township Growth and Redevelopment,
There's no meeting report next time.
okay. Partnership,
Partnership Every Child Value met last Tuesday on August 17th. It was just an intro meeting with our new Director of Equity and Inclusion, Clifford Thompson. In attendance at the meeting were Laura Waters on the board of ECV, Nicole Cody, the Executive Director, Courtney Leonard, the Program Director, and myself. Basically, the meeting was just to introduce them to the new director and to discuss what their programs for over the summer and any upcoming needs and current projects.
Thank you, Patricia. VOTEC?
We haven't met.
Okay. Special ed?
No meeting since the last board meeting.
Okay. Review of communications.
Yes, I have one note written that was asked to share by Bonnie Giglio. It says, "I would like to attend the board meeting at the high school, but I have a safety concern. I have seen on the video feed for the past few meetings, and I have seen a few in the crowd inside without a mask on. I will not attend a meeting that puts my health at risk. I would like it noted somewhere in the record for tonight's meeting that because of the current climate of noncompliance with the mask mandate, there are people who are unable to attend an in-person meeting and therefore are unable to have their voices heard."
Thank you, Ross. And now, this is the first opportunity for public input. Is there anybody? Okay, you can come up to the microphone, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. And if you could just state your name and address for the record. Yes, please, thank you.
Hi, my name is Betsy Davis. I just want to start by thanking you guys for all the work that you're doing. I know the last 18 months has not been easy anywhere, but certainly in our school systems. Did you say my address as well?
Yes, please.
It's 1227 Park Street in Robbinsville, New Jersey.
Thank you.
I'm following up on a request that I worked on with Dr. Zuckerman to approve letting my son Miles Davis into LHS outside of the normal policy of letting children in that live outside of the district. I think that you guys all were made aware of this, so I don't want to get into the details unless anyone here needs them. So I'm happy to do that. I started talking to Dr. Zuckerman in March of this year. I shared a letter with him in May, as well as some pictures. Over the years, both my sons have attended Eldridge Park, LES, LIS, LHS. My older son graduated from LHS 2017. He was tragically killed in May of 2019. A lot of bad things happened from COVID, but one of the good things that has come out of COVID is my ability to work remotely now and to come back to New Jersey, a place where we have a huge support system, a place where boys like this are happy to be in my younger son's life and step in like his older brother did. And it was my understanding on July 15th from Dr. Zuckerman that the request was denied. I have a lot of respect for processes. I understand that there has to be times where you say yes and say no. And I'm here tonight for two reasons. Number one, because I had to look my 15-year-old in the eye this week and tell him he couldn't come here, and he was devastated. So I don't think I'd be much of a parent if I didn't show up and try one last time. And also just to understand the process when children are let in. So I've asked Dr. Zuckerman for that information. I wasn't given it, but I would like to understand. I know there has been exceptions made to this, the policy in the past. I personally know of children who have benefited from that, and so I would just like to understand what the rationale was for denying the request. Also, what rationale has been used in the past to approve requests. And then finally, Dr. Zuckerman told me that it would be $19,000 if my son wanted to come here. And I struggle to understand that dollar amount, given that I think the average tax in Lawrence Township is less than $19,000. So those are kind of the three questions that I have. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, my deepest condolences to you and your family.
Thank you.
It is, we as a board all send our sympathy and heart to you. In terms of some of the questions that you have, I don't think we can answer them at this particular moment, Ross, but I think we can,
I can either call you or Dr. Zuckerman and myself will call you and answer the three questions you had and talk about anything else that you may want to question.
Okay, thank you.
thank you.
You guys want to add anything?
Good evening. My name is Jordan Harvey. I'm like Ms. Betsy's son, class of 2017. And Ms. Evans up front, there's a lot of familiar faces up here. And I just want to have Omar's little brother in this environment, this community. There are a lot of brilliant minds here. I took part in Mrs. Herzog AP U.S. history class. That's the one woman I want this man to meet. She molded my mind to think extremely outside of the box. She made me, as a young black man, encouraged as he pursued medicine. She let me know that I'm someone special. That's someone that's someone in the world that's too unique. That's someone who'd be fortunate to meet. And that's just all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys, I'm Eddie Williams, same class and everything. But with why I wanted to come to this school is because one, I was so happy to graduate from here. I remember when I first moved here to Lawrence, I was like, I don't want to come here. I don't have any friends. But then I'm so happy I had the support system I did, and with key people from Miles's life, out of his life, it really is going to take a village to raise him, and I wouldn't want him to be in any other village, because I turned out good. He turned out good.
Yes, you did.
That's really it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hi, Carolyn Poiker, 736 President Ave. I wanted to start and say thank you for sharing all the things you've done for the schools, because it's really very comforting to know about all those things to try to keep our kids safe. And I also want to say, because I don't think this comes across, as I've spoken a few times now, I've only been in this district for 2 years, and I was really excited to move here, and I'm really excited that I am here and that my kids are being educated here. And I'm super happy with, the majority that they're experiencing. So I don't want to give this impression because I'm complaining about a few things that I'm unhappy about everything. I wasn't going to ask about this, but I'm thinking about that. Dr. Cation, you said something about a school physician approving mask exemptions. I had previously been told that as long as we got a letter from our child's doctor, the doctor who would be appropriate to give the diagnosis that would make the mask exemption necessary, that we would be granted. And obviously my children's doctors know them and have access to all their records, and the school physician doesn't. So is that something I need to be concerned about? I mean, what is the school physician looking at?
We will look at that on a case-by-case basis.
I was going to say, why don't you finish your 3 minutes, and then Dr. Kazin can answer the questions, just because of the time. I don't want to keep stopping and starting.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
And I wanted to ask just a quick question about this quarantining policy. Obviously that's necessary. I would never suggest that we don't need a quarantine policy. I just would caution that whether you're vaccinated or not, I think quarantining is kind of necessary if you've gone to, states that are having bigger issues maybe than we are. But also not allowing for students to be virtual when they're quarantining if they've for fun makes sense, but like, what if they had to go to a funeral? I mean, right? Like, are there going to be exceptions made? Because if we don't have those exceptions, then people are going to not follow the rules. So that would just, I would love you to comment on that. And the last thing I just want to ask is, one of my children didn't receive all of his services last year, and so I got a letter about him making them up. And I was all set to sign it. It's 9 therapy sessions, it's not a lot. And I was really surprised that it said that, you know, by signing this, I'm waiving all my rights to like talk about what happened last year. And I just feel like that's not necessary and kind of not fair. Like, it's a really long year, it's a lot of stuff.
Sure.
And for 9.5 sessions, like nine half-hour sessions, as a parent, I wouldn't do that. And I just would like to know why that's necessary.
Thank you.
You asked a lot of great questions, and I appreciate them. In a short answer, we continue to look at everything, and it does evolve and change. So we're basing our decisions about travel and quarantining about travel based on our district physician, based on the CDC, and based on the town department, which I talk to on a regular basis and get advice from our health officer to make such decisions. You know, we have to be fluid. We have to realize that there are going to be circumstances that are different, whether it be a funeral or a child that's sharing custody that may go out of state. So we would look at that, just like the letters that we get from a doctor. We're going to look at them on a case-by-case basis and make the best decisions we can based on that. But again, it's not me making those in a vacuum. It's working with our health officer, our physician, and really leaning on the CDC's guidance. And as far as your last question about the special ed position, I would really talk and reach out to Linda Mithlog, our Director of Special Ed.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Hi, Rosario Collazo, 44 Franklin Corner Road. I just wanted to know if the board has any information on REACH app. It's supposedly a training for teachers asking kids about their vaccine status and encouraging them to get vaccinated and then taking notes and putting that in a database. Is that something that our district teachers are being trained on? And also, if there's any information that I could have or somewhere to go look up for either the critical race theory teaching that are going to be happening in the school, or the equity or sex ed and all those types of educational things that are going to be happening in the school for the children this year. Is there a place where I can go and see the curriculum? And as a parent, are we allowed to opt our children out of those courses?
Is that all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ross?
So your questions about the curriculum, we teach the New Jersey standards. Critical race theory is not part of the New Jersey standards. Our curriculum is online. You can check online. And if you have further questions, I would recommend an appointment with Dr. Zuckerman to talk about things like that. As far as asking kids about vaccinations and things like that, and keeping it in a database, that is not something that we're considering.
Okay, thank you.
Any other public comments?
Good evening. Hillary Jersey, Lawrenceville. First of all, thank you all for the cleaning and disinfecting procedures and airflow investments that will limit the transmission of the virus incredibly. It's very comforting to hear, as Carolyn noted. I'd like to follow up with some comments I made last time in my follow-up email, and these are questions, so I will wait for the answers. Has there been any contact with other school districts that are sending letters to Governor Murphy to question the mask mandate? Has there been any connection made with Senator Turner, Assemblywoman Reynolds Jackson, or Assemblyman Varelli on this matter? And has there been any written communication or conversations with Governor Murphy's office or with staff at the Department of Education or Health regarding our concerns of the mask mandate? And finally, what are the next steps to represent the families that are not in agreement with Governor Murphy's mandate and want mask optional as a policy for Lawrence schools. It's quite surprising that the movement of masking the students during all school hours moves forward even without any corresponding efficacy or safety studies. And I'll restate what we've shared in the previous meetings. We as parents have seen that masking makes it harder for our children to learn, concentrate, and breathe. Therefore, we continue to be extremely concerned about requiring our children to wear something for 6+ hours per day that inhibits their breathing and hinders their ability to learn. The WHO, in its own statements on COVID-19 early in the pandemic, repeatedly announced that there was no direct evidence on the effectiveness of face masking healthy people in the community to prevent infection of respiratory viruses, including COVID-19. They also acknowledged potential harms and risks of wearing masks. These included self-contamination leading to development of facial skin lesions, irritant dermatitis, or worsening acne and psychological discomfort. It was also noted that vulnerable populations, such as people with mental health disorders, developmental disabilities, hearing problems, those living in hot and humid environments, children, and patients with respiratory conditions are all at significant health risk for complications and harm due to wearing the mask. We hope that in the coming week, if there is data to be shown about the safety of masks on growing children, that you will please share it with us. And you have my email, so you can reply to that that I sent last week. In closing, we ask that you honor the original announcement made on masks by allowing parents to make the decision regarding whether or not to mask their children at school. With all the other precautions stated earlier, I think we are well prepared to offer mask optional for the students. And I just one more comment about someone said that they couldn't make comments because they couldn't come in person. I'm obviously sorry to hear that. I was just wondering if maybe we used to have the Zoom Board of Ed meetings, if there was a way, being on Zoom, they can call in. So I was just giving an opportunity.
Thank you, Hillary. I just want to make a comment before Ross wants to answer any of your questions. Yes, we have read all your emails, and I appreciate your position, and that's how you feel. But I do not believe anyone on this board, we are not writing a letter to the governor. We do not support that. We as a board are standing behind the mask mandate. We do believe that is in the best interest of our students. We are following the CDC guidelines. We are following our local health department and the governor. I understand you have a different opinion, and that is perfectly allowed. But we are doing this for our entire community of students. We want our schools opened, we want our students safe, and we want to keep them here. So I understand your individual opinion on it, but we are following what we said we were going to follow from the beginning of COVID, the guidelines of the state, the CDC, and the health department. I don't know if, Ross, you wanted to add anything else to that?
Just what we said last meeting, we are following the executive order. It is an order. We don't have a choice whether we don't follow it or not.
I understand that. What I was really asking is that you as elected officials, that I voted for many of you on here, just to represent some of your constituents and say, what can we do with these families that are coming with their concerns? That's what I was asking.
Thank you. I know, I appreciate that, but we don't agree with that, so we're not going to send a letter to the governor.
Thank you.
Hi, Tracy McMahon, 20 Darrow Lane. I just want to say real quick, out of all the meetings I've been to, this is the first time I actually hear you guys responding to people in a nice way. So I actually kind of enjoyed tonight so far, whether you agree or not. But usually there's a lot of times people come up here and you guys just stand there like, and you don't reply. So thank you for actually replying and listening to people. Thank you.
Martha Friend, 976 Lawrenceville Road, and I just wanted to take the opportunity as one educator in Princeton. Only reason I don't send my kids here is because I had a child with an IEP when we moved here about 9 years ago, and so it made sense to keep them in the school they were in. But as one educator who went through last year, and I know my colleagues here would say the same, keeping the schools open, keeping our kids in class, I have watched kids navigate masks, mask breaks, no problem. I know there are a few kids that doesn't work, and schools work with them. But thank you for doing everything, following the science. I know it's going to be a great year here in Lawrence, as it will be in Princeton. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comments? Okay, and with that, we're going to go into our board discussion and work session. We're going to have Ms. Lauren Berger come up first. I'm going to review what we're looking for, if you could address them in your statement, which is just an introduction, why you're interested in joining our board, have you attended board meetings previously, and what are your impressions? What do you feel you bring to the board? And would you like to offer your thoughts on the current conversation regarding masking in schools? And then we will be timing you 3 minutes, and we'll let each of the other candidates speak as well. And thank you very much.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Lauren Berger. I have a Jackson who is going to be a 4th grader at LIS. Anyone that knows me knows how involved I am and have been since we moved here his kindergarten year. I was on the Ben Franklin PTO board for 2 years, and I volunteered at pretty much every event because I have FOMO. I also work with Karen with the LTEF. I believe in what our school does. I personally, and my family, have had a wonderful experience, and part of the reason that I would like to be here on the board is because I think every kid deserves to have as great of a experience as we do or have had. I think we need board members that have younger kids. I don't know everybody's children's grades and stuff, but with him being in 4th grade, I would be here for a long time. And I think I could bring a new perspective, and I don't love public speaking, but
Nobody does, just
I
so you know.
think parents who know me know that I want what's best for our kids, and I think I'm very relatable and can be a very good liaison between the board and parents. I have not been to board meetings other than the one 2 weeks ago because here I am. So I thought I should check out what I was getting into. And as far as masking goes, it doesn't matter what I think. Personally, it matters what's best for our entire community. So to follow the CDC and the state, and I think that's what's really important. So just keeping everybody safe.
Thank you so much.
Anything else? Can I sit?
You can sit. You can sit. Thank you. That was cute. Miss Amanda Santos. Thank you for coming.
All right. Hello, my name is Amanda Santos. First of all, I want to thank the board for the invitation to be here tonight. And thank you so much for your in-depth discussion on COVID preparations. As a parent, that is very reassuring. And so about me, I am a local music teacher. I run a small business teaching private singing and piano lessons here in Lawrence. I have 3 young children. My oldest is placed out of district at Mercer County Special Services District, and my middle child will be attending LIS as a rising 4th grader. We're very excited. I also have a 2.5-year-old who will, fingers crossed, be in preschool next year or maybe the year after. I am interested in serving on the Board of Ed because I would like to play a larger role in all of our children's education and the decision-making that goes into that. I feel that being a parent of a child with a disability, I have a unique perspective on how our school district handles special education. I have worked in a school for children with disabilities, as well as a public school, and I could perhaps bring a fresh voice to in how we could offer more inclusive opportunities for our out-of-district students in particular, especially after this year where they've been quite alone and, in solitude, it would be nice for them to join our community. The Board of Ed meetings, I've been to a few, especially over the last year. I've been really interested in hearing what to expect next as a parent. And as far as the mask mandate goes, I stand with the board. I followed the CDC and the Board of Health. I personally know a family whose 5-year-old was intubated a few weeks ago due to COVID, and I just want our children to be safe and to avoid that, and for people who aren't able to get vaccinated, to keep them healthy as well. And you'll have to remind me if there are any other questions that I missed.
Nope.
Okay.
You did a great job. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yes. Did you have a reaction to any of the board meetings that you attended?
I noticed that we live in a very diverse community, and I think I appreciate your willingness to hear both sides, and there are a lot of differing opinions, and I think you've done a good job in hearing everything, but still following, the practices that are safest for our community. So, yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mr. Haran?
Michael Haran. I am the father of 2 high schoolers. My daughter's going to be a freshman this year, and my son is going to be a senior. So time flies. Given the challenges of the last 18 months, and out of Dr. Case's mouth a little bit ago, the coming months expect to be even more of a challenge for this board and this district as a whole. That's why I firmly believe that experience is what's needed in the board member you are going to appoint tonight. Now, I've served with this board before, and I've served with a number of you who still sit on this board. You stayed behind. And I believe my experience that I could offer this board, I've chaired the Finance Committee, I've chaired the Community Relations Committee, I've been through the meetings, the budget sessions, the strategy sessions, and understand, most importantly, the role of a board member without the need to go through training. And I think that's what's going to be critical as we move forward in the months, and why I'm putting my candidacy forth tonight. Also, as I'll admit to Joanne, I missed it. I missed it. I don't usually tell you that, but I did miss being a part of this and being able to do something good for the community, for our students. And it felt good saying, oh, you know what? It wasn't just my kids, and talking with the other parents about doing those kind of things. Professionally, I could bring 26 plus years of public relations, communications, and marketing experience, which I think we've all heard over the last 18 months from parents that they want to be heard from. They want to hear from you, and they want effective communication. They want clear communication. And as a board member, I would be more than happy to offer that expertise as I have in the past as a board member. Now, if I'm going to weigh in on the mask mandates, I think the point is kind of moot, given the governor's mandate, his executive order. I've worked in government, in administration, so I'm quite familiar with executive orders and the weight of the law that they carry. While I would prefer to see a mask optional situation, only if there were mandatory vaccines for all students 7 through 12. That's the only case where I would prefer to see a mask optional. You know why? Because I had COVID. I know what it's like. And despite being a fine physical specimen here and surviving it, it's not a joke. And so that's why I think, as we've said here multiple times tonight, we have to do what we can to protect our students, protect our staff, and protect our faculty. And the one thing I would ask is that our administration lead by example with the masks and continue to do that throughout the coming months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Just so you know what's going to happen next, we're going to go into executive session. No action will be taken, and we'll discuss the candidates, and then we will come back and vote in public. Just before we do that, I want to thank our 3 candidates. All 3 of you are amazing candidates. We are lucky that you have come forward to help us during a really difficult time. This board has devoted a lot of time to do the right thing, and it is very hard. So I appreciate the fact that you even came here tonight to even offer up your services. As you know, it's a volunteer experience, and we spend a lot of time here doing it, and we really do appreciate that you've come tonight and want to join the board. So whoever we select, we would like to encourage the other candidates to continue to be an active member of the Lawrence Township Public School System and help out wherever you go. And with that, I'd like a motion to...
Michelle, if I could just, I'm sorry, we were told what the process was, but at the same time, generally, when candidates run through an election, we get an abundance of information. Is it possible, if I could ask each candidate to share one issue that if they had the ability to impact it in our schools, that they would want to address? Would that be? I mean, it is 8:20, I recognize that. I hope we don't run too late, but I'm feeling...
Each one of the candidates...
If each one of the candidate would care to come back and simply share what an issue that they would choose to address.
If they don't mind, if you don't mind, if you could each come up and just one by one, just say if there was one issue that you would like...
One issue, if you were to join the board, is there one issue that you would hope to have an impact on in the coming, I guess it's now about 18 months that you would be serving?
Yes, and we'll just do
15,
the order
16
that
months.
you...
Yeah, I appreciate that,
came up
Michelle.
the first
I'm
time.
sorry.
Thank you.
You've shared with
Sorry.
us the process, and I'm expanding it, but...
No problem. So I don't have any issues personally, but I have spoken to a number of people when I spoke to them and said that I was running. And I asked what is something that they would like us, the board, to address. And I know busing is a major issue for a lot of people. I know that it's something that is being talked about and looked into. There has to be a better solution. The people that live by Route 1, who are in that 2-mile radius, they would have to cross 2 major roads. And these kids are little. My 8-year-old, he couldn't do it. He could barely get out of the house in the morning. So I don't know how we would expect those kids to walk, especially with parents that have multiple children at multiple schools starting at the same time. I just don't know how it would work. So we have to be able to come up with a better solution for busing for the kids.
Great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
I already mentioned this, but I think probably the main issue that I would hope to make an impact on is our special education and the ability for inclusion. My oldest is a really wonderful child and student, and I would love for his typical peers to get to know him and for him to be a part of the community that he's going to grow up in, and the community that his younger siblings are a part of. So that is the hill that I'm going to die on. No, I love Lawrence Township for my younger two. I would love for him to be a part of this as well. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Well, the big issue, as you know, I led the Return to Learn group here in Lawrence, so that seems to be on track for getting us back to school full-time, 7-hour days, which is what I really wanted to see. But coming onto the board would be refocusing. We've had a lot of distractions over the last 18 months, unfortunate ones, given the situation we're in, and I want our focus on education, quality education, and to be fully prepared for the whims of a political leader like a governor, or the whims of a virus that we cannot control, and I want to ensure that we have quality education prepared to go, and that we're strategically ready for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else?
I greatly appreciate
Okay,
that. Thank you.
thank you. And with that, I would like to make a motion to move to exec session to discuss the board candidate interviews. No action to be taken.
I second.
Tom?
It's just a matter of all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
No opposed?
You got it.
Okay. Okay.
You get by, Joyce.
Thank you.
You got it.
You're walking that dog.
That's right, thank goodness.
Okay, thank you for your patience while we discussed the new appointment, which we will get to, as you can see, at new business number 20. And we'll quickly go through the action items next. Personnel Committee report and action items.
There was still one public input, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Wanna
we
make
have
sure
one more. Oh, I apologize.
No troubles.
Is there anybody who would like to make any public input?
No.
Okay, seeing none, we will move on. Personnel Committee and action
Okay,
items.
we did not meet since the beginning of the month, but please find on tonight's agenda, 1, retirement, Deborah Dorner, with 28 years of teaching at Eldridge Park School. We thank her for touching so many students' lives, and we wish her a healthy and a very happy retirement. We'll also find corrections for step salaries, appointments for EDPs, position leave replacements, I'm going quickly, appointments for substitute teachers, nurses, instructional assistants, clerical assistants, staff, for home program training for parents, and for bus drivers. Amendments on agenda for items from June 9th and August 11th, approval of unused sick days, transfers due to replacements, and with all of that being said, I'd like to move P1 through P34.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Tom? with the
Ms.
motion.
Bowes?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Groger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next we have CIAPD.
CIPD did not meet.
Okay. And do you want to move the items for CIAPD?
Okay.
It's just
Okay,
IS1?
Sorry, I will, this is Patricia, I will move IS1 through,
Just one.
just one.
And,
For a second.
second?
Second.
Got it.
With that, Tom?
Ms. Bowes?
Yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Groger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Finance Committee?
Finance Committee did not meet since the beginning of the month, but I would like to move SBM 1 through 13.
Second? Yes. Oh, just,
Ms. Bowes?
yes.
Ms. Evans?
Yes.
Ms. Farmer?
Yes.
Mrs. Groger?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Dr. King?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. And this is our final opportunity for public input. Okay, seeing none, we will move on.
New business?
And so. New business. Discussion?
No.
Okay. Okay, okay. And so,
New business?
new business,
If we could separate out NB 16, Tom?
Sure, so your NB 1 through 20, separating out 16?
Correct.
and should I read
I can read the thing if you'd like.
new business 20?
I have NB 1 through 20, separating out 16. Do you want to pull two motions out?
Should we do NB 20 separate?
I would do separate.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's pull
separate.
NB 20 out and do
Yeah.
that separate as well.
Okay.
All right, then I'll quickly go over the rest of the new business then?
Yes.
We have new hires, art teacher at Eldridge Park, and hire AP at LHS, Anthony Amarata for the athletic director, who has deep history with Lawrence Township for sure, And finally, exciting appointment of Cliff Williams for the position of principal on special assignment. Many thanks to Sean and the interviewing teams for their time and dedication to select the best candidates for our students. Other items, co-op sports program, ice hockey, resignation, appointing bus attendants, sub for teachers, translator, adjustment for salaries, debt services, appointing volunteers, accepting grant money, woo-hoo, and one change order. And with that, we will move all of them but those two.
Great. Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Go back to 16.
Let's take
No, we
the
have to
roll
pick
call
it
on
up.
this one
Oh,
first,
sorry.
right? So, Ms.
Go
Bose,
ahead.
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Farmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Groger,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, then new business 16.
And a second?
I'll second that.
Tom?
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Farmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Groger,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Abstain.
Dr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Scott,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, and new business number 20 is a motion to appoint Amanda Santos to fill the vacant board member seat of John Dauber. I want to thank Ms. Berger and Mr. Haran for coming forward to apply for the position, and we encourage you to continue participating in the school district. We appreciate your time. Is there a motion to move?
Motion to move NB 20?
Second?
I have a motion from Dr. King and seconded by who, please?
I'll second that.
That's from Ms. Farmer. Ready for the roll?
Yes.
Ms. Bose,
Yes.
Ms. Evans,
Yes.
Ms. Farmer,
Yes.
Mrs. Groger,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Dr. King,
Yes.
Ms. Scott.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Thank you. And a motion to adjourn? So moved.
Second.
Tom?
Okay, that's a motion by Ms. Scott, seconded by Ms. Farmer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.